So today I'm going to show you why your current identity is actually your financial ceiling. And not only that, but how to upgrade that so you can open up the doors to more levels of unlimited abundance. Now, the reason this is so powerful and so important is because no matter how many books you read, no matter how many seminars you go to, until you change your wealth identity, you are never going to be able to outgrow your financial ceiling, because there are so many limitations attached to that that most people aren't even aware of. Now, the good news is this doesn't take decades. It can be done very quickly if you know what path to take and what steps to follow. And that's what this video is all about. Now, you may be asking, how do I know this process works, or how do I know it works for me? Well, I can tell you categorically, I've taught this process to thousands of people who have all massively made shifts and benefited from understanding how prosperity actually works. Your relationship to money is a game changer and really leads to a very different quality of life compared to most people that are trudging around in poverty. I've personally used this to go from minus hundreds of thousands in debt when I had some business setbacks and failures to quickly regaining multi-millions of dollars and creating a lifestyle most people dream about. So I don't want to make this about me. I want to make it about demonstrating what you're about to learn as a process is proven. This isn't theory. It's not a hypothesis. It is fact. And if you follow the steps, it'll work for you too. So let's get started. So out of the 3 steps, the most important one to start with is understanding how to upgrade your wealth identity. How do you define that? How do you shift who you are in relation to money rather than just go out and trying to hustle to get more cash? Well, you start with an identity statement that begins with I am. Because most people start with I am struggling, I am financially poor, I am somebody who has to work hard for money. When you redefine your I am when it relates to money, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am born into a universe that serves me at the highest level. And if you look around in nature, you'll realize that no part of nature gives scarcity. An apple tree doesn't give 1 apple. A field doesn't have 1 blade of grass. A lemon doesn't have 1 lemon pip. Everywhere in nature, abundance is everywhere. And when you align with that and you combine your identity with it to really come back to the truth that you are an expression of source, an expression of nature, you can start to align more with an abundance mentality. But until you shift your identity around that, so it's not just what you do, but it's who you are. Why? Because what you do is always driven by who you are. If you're a vegetarian, you don't eat meat. Why? Because not eating meat is what vegetarians do. Whereas non-vegetarians, very happy to eat meat. Why? Because their identity aligns with their choices on the menu. Your identity when it comes to wealth lines up with your decisions around money. Do you get scared? Do you come from a place of fear about losing money? Are you always trying to save so that you're reluctant to give it away? Do you feel bad when you sign a check to pay a bill? All of that conspires against you when it comes to your wealth identity. So getting that in place is a huge first step. Without that, it doesn't matter what business opportunities you have. It doesn't matter what second hustles that you put together. Why? Because your financial identity is always going to govern your financial bank account. Outer world follows inner world. So if you don't make that shift, which is where most people fall down, that's why I have it as number 1, then you're going to simply find different ways and different levels of variety of earning the same amount of money. Now we get to the second key point. And again, identity is first. But if you shift your identity and you still haven't mastered step 2, which is mastering your emotions, then it's going to, again, conspire against you. Now, this is where so many people fall down because they say, I'll feel wealthy, I will have emotional connection to money in terms of wealth when I see it in the bank account. See, mastering your emotions isn't about putting a brave face on being poor. It's about outgrowing your sense data. In other words, your senses in the outer world are telling you that your credit card is due, that your rent is overdue, that your bank account is low. If you react emotionally to your sense data, you are always going to be creating more of what you emotionally associate to. In other words, you have to become wealthy by feeling wealth in the absence of sense data telling you there's wealth there. And that is where so many people fall down. When you walk around feeling $1 million, how do you do that? Here's one tip. If rich Uncle Fred was to die and leave you $10 million, but the problem was that he'd put in his will, you couldn't have it for 6 months. So it's already in the bank account. You've already got a check written with your name on, cleared in your solicitor's account, with you getting $10 million in 6 months from now. How would you feel? You'd feel no scarcity. You wouldn't care. Nothing's changed in your bank account. Your sense data remains the same. You're still in debt. You're still struggling to pay the rent. But if you knew you had $10 million coming in 6 months, how would you shift emotionally? That has been the key to so many people breaking the poverty cycle of thinking scarce thoughts, because they look at their bank account, it tells them there's scarcity, so they feel scarce, which creates more scarcity in the outer world. So mastering your emotions is not about trying to fool the universe by grinning through your teeth, because the universe doesn't deliver what you want, it delivers who you are. So in this moment, when it comes to supporting your financial identity, you have to step out of the outer world's feedback, which is simply the result of the previous thinking you've done in the past. To break that cycle, you have to master your emotions. Step into a frame where rich Uncle Fred is taking care of all of your problems 6 months from now, and walk around genuinely connecting the heart and the mind together in unity of celebrating the fact that you are wealthy. You see, Olympians who win gold don't win gold and then think they're world champions. They think they're world champions and then they win gold. In other words, if you want to become wealthy, you don't wait for the money in the bank account to validate your wealth. You validate your wealth now, and then over time, it appears in the bank account. That requires mastery of emotion and you being bigger than your sense data. Okay, let's get to point number 3 that really ties it all together. And while the other two are paramount, they're not going to have the same level of impact until we make step number 3 a reality. And step number 3, upgrade your environment. What do I mean by that? Well, there is an indisputable law that essentially says you become who you hang with. In other words, your environment will beat your will and best intentions over time, every time. You hang around with 9 recreational drug users that are complaining about why life doesn't work, you're going to become the 10th at some point. Even if you go in with the mindset of, oh, yeah, I won't be that person. Environment beats will. You hang around with 9 people who are constantly looking at life through the lens of possibility thinking, of knowing that they were born to become a superstar, that are always looking for how we can, not why we can't. You're going to become the 10th. Or that group is going to kick you out of the game. So it's so hard for people because most people don't have a peer group. They have a fear group, or they have a beer group. And therefore, because the old adage says misery likes company, I disagree. I think misery likes miserable company. And if you're not consciously designing a peer group that supports you in the same way, in the direction of travel mentally that you want to go, you are going to backslide even with the best of intentions. So step number 1, upgrade your identity. Who you are as money is way more powerful than you without money trying to get money. Next, upgrade your emotions. Master your emotions by becoming bigger than your sense data, and over time, the outer world has to catch up with the inner world. You only become wealthy in the outer world after you have accepted wealth as who you are in the inner world. And then most importantly, you have to set yourself up to win by creating an environment that supports you. Now, if you have a brother-in-law that's constantly looking for the hole in the donut, if you have a spouse that is always pointing out where the hair in the soup is, whatever that is, it's tough when proximity conspires against you. So you have to then go above and beyond. Start joining groups where people think in the direction of travel you want to go. Start looking for mentors. Even if it's online, even if it's in books, spend time associating by training your mind to be in alignment with people that support your direction of travel. If you can do those three things, you are going to blow away the competition and finally step out of the poverty trap, the scarcity cycle that keeps so many people trapped in limitations of thought. And if you're ready to stop trying to become successful, but actually step in and take action today that will lead to the results that you want, then scroll down, book a call with my team. They understand this language, this framework. They're going to be able to help you get through the blocks that you have. They're going to talk to you about what's most important to help you get clarity. They're going to give you some options on which groups you can join that will really support this direction of travel. My mission is to help raise global consciousness. One of the biggest things that keeps people trapped in low levels of consciousness is fear and scarcity, and nowhere do I see that more triggered than areas of money. So allow my team to be able to help you take the first steps so that you can break that trap and finally start being the person you were born to be. Or if you're not quite ready to talk to somebody and take action yet, then scroll down, click the second link, and watch the next video where I walk you through some deeper insights into how to make these three aspects of wealth creation more a part of who you are. Pick one of those two choices now, because not making a decision is actually making a decision to fail. And that's not why you came here. Pick the fast track with link number 1, or do a little bit more research on link number 2. The future is now in your hands.